Retirement in America was once the dream, a reward for decades of hard work. But in 2025, that dream is collapsing. Across the U.S., fixed-income seniors are falling into poverty and in some cities, straight into homelessness. What if I told you that the same cities once hailed as retirement-friendly are now death traps for the elderly? That even after 40 years of paying taxes, millions of Americans are now living in tents, under bridges, or inside their cars, all while battling rising rents, failing health, and a government that's turning its back. This is not fearmongering. It's happening. And what you're about to see will shake you. From New York's luxury condos towering over homeless encampments, to Las Vegas retirees losing homes just miles from billion-dollar casinos, this is the dark side of America's retirement crisis. So here it is. 10 U.S. cities where retirement means homelessness in 2025. And trust me, number 1 will haunt you. Number 10, New York City, New York. In the so-called capital of the world, retirees are being priced out faster than any safety net can catch them. With a homelessness rate hovering around 393 per 100,000 residents, New York City has become one of the most hostile places for low-income seniors. Manhattan rents frequently surpass $3,500 per month, while even outer boroughs like Brooklyn and the Bronx offer little relief. For seniors relying solely on Social Security, which averages just $1,900 per month in 2025, the math simply doesn't work. Home prices across upstate New York and the city have risen 35% since 2010, but what's barely moved? Retirement income, property taxes, WAF fees, utility surcharges. These are silent killers for anyone trying to retire in place. And the so-called affordable housing programs. Good luck. Waitlists are often years long, and senior-specific subsidized units are drying up amid budget cuts and gentrification. Even worse, public shelters are overwhelmed. Senior homelessness is spiking, with older individuals making up an increasing portion of NYC's unhoused population. Many are choosing between buying medication or paying rent. Others live in fear of eviction, with nowhere else to go. They sleep on trains, shuffle through shelters, or cram into overcrowded apartments with family. And here's the cruel irony. The city that promises opportunity now offers only survival to its retirees. How can we call this golden years when they're spent lining up for soup kitchens under skyscrapers? Is this the future of aging in America? Number 9, Los Angeles, California. Forget Hollywood dreams. Los Angeles is ground zero for America's retirement nightmare. With over 75,000 homeless individuals in LA County, the city has seen a 9% rise in homelessness in recent years. And yes, that includes a growing number of senior citizens. Many thought they'd retire in the California sun. Instead, they're sunburnt on the sidewalk. Rental prices in LA are soaring. Average rents hit $2,900 per month, with no signs of slowing. For seniors whose pensions or Social Security checks barely crack $2,000, this city is a death sentence. Even those in low-income retirement communities are struggling. Medical emergencies, home repairs, or inflation spikes send older residents spiraling toward eviction, often permanently. And what's worse, even Section 8 housing vouchers, once a lifeline, are virtually inaccessible. Law's waiting list was closed years ago, and when it reopens, demand far outweighs supply. That means thousands of elderly renters have no safety net when landlords raise rent or buildings are sold to investors. This city may shine with luxury cars and palm trees, but just blocks away are entire tent cities filled with seniors, some using walkers, some in wheelchairs trying to survive. And that's just the beginning. Why are we letting our elders fall through the cracks of a system they helped build? Number 8, San Francisco, Oakland, California. If you're a retiree in San Francisco or Oakland in 2025, the message is clear: you don't belong here anymore. Median home prices in San Francisco hover around $1.2 million, and even modest apartments often exceed $3,000 per month. For seniors on fixed incomes, these prices are impossible. And in Oakland, things aren't much better, except the crisis is uglier and more visible. Oakland's homeless population has doubled in recent years, with many of the newly unhoused being seniors who were once comfortably retired. How? Rapid gentrification. rising utility costs, and a collapse in affordable housing programs. Public housing waitlists now stretch beyond 5 years, and city shelters report a dramatic rise in 60-plus-year-old occupants. What happens when a retired nurse, bus driver, or teacher is evicted from a longtime home due to a rent hike? They often can't afford to leave the area, nor can they stay. Seniors end up couchsurfing, sleeping in vehicles, or living in recreational vehicles illegally parked in industrial zones. These aren't lazy people, they're victims of a system that no longer works. The tech boom made San Francisco rich. But for many retirees, it's made retirement a cruel joke. A city once known for progressivism now turns a blind eye to its aging population. Is this what happens when profits are valued more than people? Number 7. Seattle, Washington. Seattle loves to tout its innovation, diversity, and forward-thinking policies. But dig beneath the surface, and you'll find a retirement crisis brewing faster than anyone expected. From 2020 to 2022, the city's homeless population rose by 38%, with current estimates placing it at 348 per 100,000 residents, and the senior homeless population is rising fastest of all. Why? Exploding rent prices. As Amazon-fueled development continues, formerly affordable neighborhoods are now unaffordable even for working families, let alone fixed-income retirees. One-bedroom apartments average $2,200 to $2,800 per month, and rent control remains virtually non-existent. For those aged 65 plus, it's a terrifying balancing act. Rising healthcare costs, spiking property taxes, and limited federal cost of living adjustments create a perfect storm. Miss one payment, and the eviction notice follows. And Seattle's shelters are not built for seniors. Many lack adequate beds, medical access, or privacy for aging individuals. Here's the paradox. A city that prides itself on compassion is failing the people who need it most. And while the skyline grows taller, the number of seniors sleeping on concrete grows too. How long can Seattle ignore this before it reaches the tipping point? Number 6. Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas may be a popular destination for retirees chasing warm weather and tax breaks, but in 2025, the house always wins. The city carries a homelessness rate of 272 per 100,000 residents, with more than 5,000 people on the streets, and seniors are among the most at risk. Many retirees came here thinking they'd stretch their dollars further. And initially, that worked. But Las Vegas's affordability is evaporating. Rent increases have outpaced inflation, and even basic essentials like food and medicine have surged. For seniors dependent on fixed incomes, there's no wiggle room for unexpected expenses, whether it's a car breakdown, medical emergency, or rent hike. Even more troubling is the lack of support systems. Subsidized housing options are minimal. The waiting list for senior assistance programs, often years long, with limited emergency housing available. And as Las Vegas prioritizes tourism and development, low-income neighborhoods where many retirees live are getting bulldozed or priced out. This is a city that glitters with excess just blocks away from retirees begging for food. The illusion of Las Vegas as a retirement haven is shattering fast. Is this America's cruelest bait and switch? Number 5. San Diego, California. San Diego might seem like a dream destination for retirees with its sun-soaked beaches and year-round warm weather, but in 2025, it's become a financial nightmare for older Americans living on fixed incomes. Behind the palm trees and million-dollar ocean views lies one of the most unaffordable housing markets in the entire United States, with average one-bedroom rents soaring to over $2,600 a month. For many retirees relying on Social Security, that's more than their entire monthly income. The result? A shocking rise in elder homelessness. According to recent data from the San Diego Regional Task Force on Homelessness, the number of people over age 55 experiencing homelessness has jumped 25% in just the last 2 years, with no sign of slowing. And it's not just visible in encampments along the freeways. Retirees are sleeping in cars, couch surfing with strangers, or crowding into overrun shelters with few accommodations for older adults. For some, retirement has literally meant living on the sand instead of enjoying it. The city's housing development hasn't kept pace with demand. While luxury condos and Airbnb rentals dominate the skyline, affordable senior housing projects are either stalled or non-existent. Retirees often wait years for subsidized housing if they qualify at all. And healthcare. San Diego's high cost of living extends to its hospitals, pharmacies, and long-term care facilities, making even basic medical care an out-of-reach luxury for many older adults living below the poverty line. But perhaps the most tragic part is how invisible this crisis has become. San Diego continues to market itself as a paradise for tourists and tech investors, while hiding the fact that thousands of its own elders are struggling to survive. When paradise turns its back on the people who helped build it, you have to wonder, what kind of retirement are we really offering in America anymore? Number 4. Anchorage, Alaska, where cold meets crisis. Anchorage might seem like an unlikely contender on this list, but the numbers don't lie and they're chilling in more ways than one. In 2025, Anchorage reports roughly 274 homeless individuals per 100,000 residents, a rate shockingly high for a city of its size. But here's where it gets brutal. The winter months aren't just cold, they're deadly. Sub-zero temperatures combined with a housing shortage and inadequate emergency shelter capacity have created a perfect storm for retirees already struggling to make ends meet. Now factor in Alaska's sky-high heating and utility costs, which can sometimes exceed $500 per month in the coldest stretches. For seniors relying on Social Security, which averages just $1,900 per month as of 2025, that's nearly 30% of their income gone just to stay warm. With grocery and medical costs also inflated due to shipping expenses and supply chain issues, the financial math becomes impossible for many older residents. When just surviving winter drains your savings, it's not hard to see why so many retirees are slipping through the cracks. Worse still, affordable senior housing in Anchorage is nearly non-existent. The waitlists for subsidized units stretch months, sometimes years, and private developments favor luxury accommodations for wealthier residents or tourists. Local news reports show a spike in vehicular retirees, older adults forced to live out of their cars in supermarket parking lots, braving the elements with space heaters and thermal blankets. In the wealthiest country in the world, is this what retirement is supposed to look like? And here's the kicker. The state of Alaska has slashed funding for public housing and senior programs by nearly 18% over the last 2 years, citing budget constraints. That's not a constraint, it's a catastrophe for aging Alaskans. Is this the price of independence in America's last frontier? Number 3. Eugene, Oregon, the capital of homeless retirement. Eugene might be known for its progressive values and picturesque surroundings, but when it comes to homelessness, the numbers are downright dystopian. As of 2025, Eugene now holds the highest homelessness rate in the entire United States, a staggering 432 homeless individuals per 100,000 residents. And older Americans make up a terrifyingly growing portion of that population. What's driving this collapse? A crippling shortage of affordable housing, for one. Eugene has seen home prices and rents surge over the past decade, driven by gentrification, tech spillover from the Pacific Northwest, and an influx of out-of-state transplants. But senior services and low-income housing, they've remained static or been defunded altogether. It's no wonder retirees, especially those without family support, are being pushed to the streets. Retirees here face the agonizing choice between rent and medical care. And when both are essential, many choose neither. Shelters are overrun. Encampments once hidden are now visible in every corner of the city, and they're filled with elderly individuals in walkers, wheelchairs, or simply wrapped in blankets, shivering under overpasses. These are not outliers, they're the face of Eugene's forgotten retirees. But what comes next will shock you. Eugene's City Council recently rejected a proposal to expand emergency senior housing due to zoning conflicts. Zoning. When older Americans are freezing and starving in tents. This isn't a policy oversight, it's a national disgrace. And it's happening right now in America's so-called progressive heartland. Number 2. Detroit, Michigan, retirement's vanishing lifeline. Detroit has long been a cautionary tale of post-industrial collapse, but in 2025, it's become something worse, a place where retirement dreams turn into survival nightmares. Once a city of prosperity and pensions, Detroit is now grappling with rising foreclosure rates, an unstable rental market, and a mass exodus of residents, and older citizens are taking the hardest hit. Why? Because Detroit's aging infrastructure and crumbling social services are failing its most vulnerable. Pension funds once promised during the auto industry's heyday have been gutted or frozen, leaving many retirees with a fraction of what they expected. Public housing is overloaded, and according to city data, more than 20% of older adults live below the poverty line. That's not a statistic, it's a death sentence when rent prices are climbing and public services are in retreat. Foreclosure rates in senior-heavy neighborhoods have doubled since 2022, fueled by inflation, delinquent property taxes, and sky-high utility bills. What was once a paid-off home becomes a trap when repairs, heat, and insurance spiral out of reach. Elderly residents are either forced to squat in decaying homes or join the growing population of older adults in abandoned buildings and church-run shelters. And here's the gut punch. Detroit's city government has been too overwhelmed to mount a serious response. Federal aid has been slow, and local programs like Meals on Wheels and senior rent assistance have seen double-digit funding cuts. So when a retired auto worker loses their last safety net in a city that's already lost its grip, what options are left? Is this the end of the line for retirement in the American Rust Belt? Number 1, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, ground zero for senior homelessness. Topping our list is none other than Philadelphia, a city where the American dream has crashed headfirst into the American reality. With a homelessness rate now hovering around 300 per 100,000 residents and an unprecedented surge in senior homelessness, Philly isn't just failing its retirees, it's burying them under debt, neglect, and desperation. How did it come to this? In just the past 5 years, average rents in Philadelphia have jumped nearly 25%. While senior incomes, mainly Social Security, have risen by less than half that. Affordable housing developments are years behind schedule, and Section 8 vouchers. You're looking at a 3 to 5 year waitlist. That's not a delay, it's a death sentence for some older adults barely scraping by. What's most terrifying is how rapidly this crisis has accelerated. According to a 2024 study from the University of Pennsylvania, over 40% of Philadelphia's unhoused population over the age of 60 became homeless for the first time after turning 55. These aren't people who've lived on the edge their whole lives. These are former nurses, janitors, veterans, people who paid into the system and are now being left for dead by that very same system. Shelters in Philly are dangerously overcrowded, and city officials have admitted they lack both the funding and infrastructure to meet demand. Reports show seniors sleeping in train stations, in hospital waiting rooms, even in the lobbies of apartment buildings they were just evicted from. One local news segment showed an 83-year-old woman living in a tent near a SEPTA station, her only crime outliving her pension. Philadelphia is more than just a city in decline, it's a warning shot to the rest of America. If this can happen in a city with world-class hospitals, Ivy League universities, and billions in federal aid, where is safe anymore? So what happened to the golden years? The vision we were sold of sunny porches, quiet days, and dignity in old age is disintegrating right before our eyes. In cities across America, retirement no longer means rest. It means risk. It means fear. It means homelessness. From the glitz of Las Vegas to the ice of Anchorage, from the skyscrapers of New York to the streets of Philadelphia, millions of older Americans are being priced out, pushed aside, and left behind. Their fixed incomes can't keep pace with inflation. Their savings are evaporating, and the systems designed to protect them are crumbling under pressure or being gutted by design. So we have to ask, is this a policy failure? Or a moral collapse? And if retirement is no longer safe in America, what does that say about the rest of our future? We glorify wealth and youth in this country, but what about those who built it? What happens when the very people who built our roads, taught our children, defended our freedom are now living in tents, freezing in cars, or dying quietly in shelters? This isn't just a crisis. It's an American betrayal. So before you plan your golden years or ignore that aging neighbor down the hall, ask yourself, is your city next? Because if this trend continues, retirement in America may soon become extinct.